Ishmaelites came along and they sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites. And then the Ishmaelites sold Joseph to a very rich man called Potiphar. Now Joseph had favor with the Lord, and he continued to pray to God, and he continued to do God's work. So Potiphar, he became very popular with Potiphar, and he was given charge of Potiphar's household. And Potiphar recognized that he was being blessed because of Joseph, so he put him in charge of everything. And it seemed that Joseph's dreams were coming true. His wife took a liking to Joseph, and she tried to seduce him. And Joseph, being a man of God, resisted that temptation and he fled from Potiphar's wife. So, of course, Potiphar believed the wife instead of Joseph and threw Joseph in prison. Now, Joseph was in prison for about 10 years, and Joseph's dreams were dashed. But Joseph didn't sit in prison going, woe is me. Joseph prayed to God, and Joseph used that time in prison to fulfill God's word. And God used that time to shape Joseph into the man that he would have him be. Okay, so Joseph is in prison, and he was in prison for like 10 years. And there was a cupbearer and a baker that was in prison with him, and they each had a dream. Now, they were disturbed by their dreams, but Joseph was able to interpret their dreams with the help of God. So the cupbearer and his dreams, and Joseph was going to be restored to Pharaoh's service, but the baker was going to be beheaded. So in 3 days, these dreams came true. The cupbearer was restored to to Pharaoh's service, and the baker was beheaded. Now, before the cupbearer left, Joseph said, "Please remember me when you're freed." But of course, the cupbearer didn't. He went on with his life, and he served the Pharaoh, but he forgot all about Joseph. So eventually, the Pharaoh had a disturbing dream. And no one could interpret this dream for Pharaoh. It was very disturbing, but no one could interpret it. But then the cupbearer remembered Joseph in prison, and he said, there is one who can interpret the dream for Pharaoh, and it was Joseph. So Joseph was brought to Pharaoh, and he interpreted his dream. Now the dreams were about famine. There was going to be 7 years of plenty in the land of Egypt, and 7 years of famine. Now during that 7 years of plenty, Joseph told Potiphar he needs to save up his grain in barns. So since Joseph was so wise and he explained Pharaoh's dream, Pharaoh made him in charge of everything in Egypt. He made him govern Egypt, and he also put him in charge of selling the grain to people when the famine came. So Joseph was in charge, and eventually, of course, his brother